You guys have seen me attempt some pretty, I mean, I would say ambitious sewing projects over the ambitious? I think I've attempted some pretty ambitious projects. And if there's one thing that I love the most, it is when I figure out a way to work smarter, not harder. Just little things like taping instructions to my sewing machine, using a basting stitch to press an edge evenly, pinning my custom bias tape when I press it, or when I realize I can utilize the existing finished edges on a thrift flip. Saying all of these examples out loud, it sounds like total gobbledygook, but if you've seen those videos or if you've ever tried any of these techniques, you know the feeling. So with my deeply held value of working smarter, not harder in mind, we're gonna try some more sewing hacks today. I do think I need to feel the benefit. 10 TikToks we're gonna watch, attempt, and we're gonna rank. Straight to jail. There's a tool for this, and we'll get into this one in a moment. I have been changed for good. Let us begin.
My favorite illegal sewing technique? Gluing. Pins are for suckers. The government doesn't want you to know this, but it's true.
Illegal.
Favorite illegal sewing technique?
Freeze! It's the sewing police.
Put down the glue. Sometimes though, I really do act like there is a sewing police. I mean, I guess you guys police me, which is scary enough. I'm trying to think if I've ever used glue. Yes, I've used glue in a project. When I was making my Louis Vuitton inspired harness as seen on Timothée Chalamet, Michael B. Jordan, the tiny beads were so tedious to put on that eventually I started gluing them on, and then after the glue dried, I could add a little hand stitching to reinforce it. I actually recently bought a new sewing glue stick. If you're a part of the sewing police, please look away. Sewline fabric glue. It's glue, has a little refill. Oh, did not expect it to be blue. The reason I got this is because I ordered some garment label. Look, those are so cute. On their Instagram, they recommended using a glue stick to make attaching it easier. So here she is, the dress that I made in my last video. It's a very well-known pattern on the internet, so if you recognize it, I'm just confirming your suspicions. So what I should have done right here is sew the label right in. I've opened up this little gap. I'm gonna slide this in. And so normally I might throw a pin right here to hold it all together, but the downside of a pin is that it dimples the fabric ever so slightly. Push it down. Nice. That's so flat. Did you see how nicely that went through the machine? So smooth. I didn't even have to stop to remove a pin part way. And this is why I want to put garment labels on my clothes, because it just makes it look so much more finished. Glue as a sewing tool, I have been changed for good. Interrupting the sewing hackathon test kitchen expectations versus reality roast with a shout out to this video's sponsor, Birch Living. They make mattresses that are crafted with organic and natural materials that have been sustainably sourced, so you won't be sleeping on any funny little hacks or tricks with this one. Back when we were shopping for a mattress, we preferred Birch for the organic and natural materials, and unlike synthetic mattresses, the wool in these mattresses makes it hypoallergenic, so it is both allergen and mildew resistant. Their mattresses are free from polyurethane foams, which can cause harmful off-gassing, and are also free of fiberglass, which can be harmful to your health. All of this means we can look forward to many more years with our Birch mattress on top of the 3 we've already enjoyed. I just don't like the idea of constantly getting a new mattress, and we really appreciate that it's kept us well rested throughout pregnancy, postpartum, newborn, future potential life changes. We're good. We gave Marla the same treatment in her bedroom with her Birch Kids mattress. Her Birch mattress has a cool feature where it is 2-sided, allowing you to flip the mattress for age-appropriate comfort. So right now, she's on the firmer side for ages 3 to 7, and later she will switch to the softer side for ages 8 to 12. And it's nice to know one mattress all the way till she's 12. If you missed her bedroom makeover, I'm quite proud of it. I'll put a link to it in the description, and the Birch link will also be there. With your Birch mattress, you will get a 100-night sleep trial along with a 25-year warranty, and the best part about all this is that Birch delivers your mattress to your door for free in the US. They also offer in-home setup and removal to make your buying experience as convenient as possible. We love our Birch mattress, and we think you will too if you're looking for a new bed. While I'm sitting here editing this video right now, Birch Living just told me they actually have a Black Friday sale, even better than the one that I was about to say in this video. It's the perfect time to upgrade your sleep. You are gonna get a 25% off a Birch mattress plus 2 free EcoRest pillows. So you go to birchliving.com/withwendy and you will find out more about this limited time offer. Back to sewing. Rolled hem sewing hack. We've got the cards. I've seen this type of thing so many times, but I admit I've never tried it. She's taping it to the machine on the little like screw plate that's beside the needle. I can't unsee it now. It looks like a little face that's like, oh. Maybe the reason I've never tried such a thing is because I don't think it would work well on a lot of different materials. Got my folded up cardstock. I'm using masking tape in hopes that there's no residue. You want it to be just off of the center edge at the top, at the bottom. I have a theory that this only works on like a very classic firm fabric. Come on. Okay, it kind of worked. Here's where we started. We kind of veered off course and yep, fully lost the plot right here. I adjusted the needle over one position and I started to pre-roll the fabric as it went through the cardboard, and the rest went like this, which is not bad. A little sloppy, but it looks decent from the outside. With practice, I could get better at this. A heavier weight wool material, lacy piece, very stretchy. I don't even think it can go through the paper. It didn't not work. It did, however, rip my card. Okay, and then I'm pre-folding the fabric before it enters the tube. Somewhere here near the beginning, the stitch did not catch the loop. The rest turned out okay. Well, that didn't catch anything. After this first one, I got a little bit more invested in how successful this might be. It actually did okay with the heavyweight, and so I think where it really fails is flimsier stretch. This is so bad. I'm gonna make a new category for this one, and I'm calling it the vest in your wardrobe. Useful sometimes, depending on the weather. Well, it's kind of annoying that they put the text immediately over the action, me giving director's notes. In case you can't catch what's going on here, it looks like every so often the stitch is skipping. This can happen with any material, but it does tend to happen with knits, where in the whole mechanism of the needle going in and out of the fabric and catching the bobbin thread, it just like doesn't catch sometimes. They're taking the foot, the tape back on the foot, and look at that, no skipped stitches. Actually, I think I just ran out of Scotch tape. Do you think I can do it with masking tape? Okay, first let's do a regular straight stitch, see if it skips. I don't know. No skipped stitches. I'm gonna pre-pierce the hole that the needle goes through because I don't like the idea of my needle getting tape residue on it. I don't think there's any material difference. Okay, thirdly, I'm gonna add in a walking foot, which if you guys have never tried before, it's a pretty fun sewing foot, but it can be a little complex. So on a sewing machine, these little teeth are called the feed dogs. As the machine moves forward, they rotate to keep feeding the fabric forward. But one of the issues is that they're only tugging on the fabric from the underside. And what a walking foot does is it applies that same pressure from the top. So instead of the fabric being fed underneath, now there's something on top feeding it together. This is very satisfying when you get the opportunity to use one. I got it on. I'm just gonna double check. This was regular straight stitch. This one had the tape hack. This one was the walking foot. Maybe the tension on the walking foot was like ever so slightly tighter. I don't know if it's because my machine is pretty decent. If you are running into this problem, you can try the tape, but I just don't even know if this problem is super common. I'm gonna go with there's a tool for this. Like if you really find skipping stitches is a repeated problem, cheap solution is to try the tape. Better solution is to get a walking foot. Then it probably solves the skip stitch problem while also being a tool that you can use for like really thick material, really sticky material where like it's really important to get the pattern lined up perfectly as it goes through the machine. We're gonna use cardstock to make bias tape. Oh my gosh, I'm proud of them for getting this shot. Never in my life has pulling back an iron been so smooth. The simplest way to get bias tape is just to purchase it. Like it's sold in giant rolls in all sorts of colors, and the only time you need to make your own, I find, is when you have a really specific fabric that you're using and you want it to be consistent and match throughout the project. In this project, I had to make a really long chain of gold satin bias tape. Back when I made this wrap coat from a blanket, I also had to use that same material to make the bias tape so that it all blends. I got my paper. Will we get a smooth pull like in this TikTok? No. Slowly the fabric started to run awry inside the card and this got off track. Yeah, kind of separated back here, and that was with me like really trying to hold its hand through the whole thing. I do have here the tool that I actually use to make bias tape. It's got a curved base where the fabric feeds in, folded tapered front where it comes out as bias tape. Let's see if this is better. It also has a cute little handle. Okay, look at that. Smooth and consistent, easy glide, all the way to the end. I think there's a clear winner here. Straight to the thread bin you go, although I would love to know how many takes it took to get that shot. Basting for strap flipping. Basting stitch, for those of you that don't know, is the straight stitch on your sewing machine on the longest stitch length so that it's really easy to unpick later. A basting stitch is almost never meant to be seen. It's just like a temporary stitch. Wow, that's so smooth. Although I never make straps that are this short, so we'll try it on something that's a little bit more realistic. I feel like this is a normal length to be working with. Whole enough to cover the whole length. Okay, is the difference between short and long form content just working with larger pieces of fabric? I find the hardest part is to get it started. Wow! Success! This tool, for comparison, is a tube turner. It's got a little latch hook at the end that grabs onto the fabric, and for longer straps you will need a longer tube. Like this one does have its limitations. I hope it can handle this one. The latch hook comes out of that tiny spot where I cut a hole. Starting is always tricky. So that's with the tube turner. A little bit faster. You know what? I was gonna give this one vest in a wardrobe, but I have been changed for good. Slash, there is also a tool for this if you decide to do it a lot. Okay, hemming jeans. Will I learn something new today? I like easy. Oh, okay. I mean, that is the easy way to hem jeans. Can't believe this goes back to one of my oldest YouTube videos, but in that video I show how with just like a few more steps you can make it look really clean. Because the downside of doing it this way is that when you flip it, there can be like a little bit of a balloon of the jean. Straight-legged pants. One thing this hack has right is, especially with jeans, it is a dead giveaway that you hemmed it if you just go straight to hacking the bottom off. All jeans at their cuff have this natural distressing. After jeans are fully assembled, they go through a wide variety of processes, big tumbling machines with rocks, chemical washes, all to achieve the exact fade and distress level. It's actually quite energy intensive, as you can imagine. There's even new innovation right now to find more energy efficient, water efficient ways to give jeans the same treatment. I think I watched a video where they were like lasering the jeans to distress them instead of physically distressing them. Crazy stuff. If you hack it off, you're just going to end up with a very fresh edge, which just looks wrong. This is as far as the hack takes us. We do one stitch all the way around. See how there's this like gross little bubble where it's obvious something was done here. This is why I have a really old video that shows a few extra steps you can do so that this ends up looking really clean. I don't think this fits into any of these categories. I think it needs a new one called Ask Yourself If You Have Standard. You deserve so much better. You can do it. Ooh, okay. They've gotten rid of the teeth. Oh, and they're creating like a little cup. The main caveat here is that this is doable if you're dealing with a plastic or nylon zipper, but as soon as you're dealing with zippers that have metal teeth, you may need to get out a pair of pliers. I actually got a pair of zippers shortened professionally at a zipper store in a previous video. They opened up the base, put it into the new location, and then hammered it shut. It was very satisfying. All right, I've got a zipper here. I think this one was part of a previous project. There's this fancy way to finish off the bottom. I truly have forgotten what the narrative was behind all of this. The metal clip of the zipper has been moved. You shall not pass. Cutting across. Ta-da! Obviously going with this type of approach where you fabric wrap the end would be a slightly more luxe approach, but if no one's going to look at the inside of your garments, I feel like this was a pretty fast way to lock up the zipper. I have been changed for good. I'm impressed. I'm glad I tried that. Now we're on to gathering. Okay, wait. High tension, long stitch length. Okay. It's working. I fear I will still be gathering exactly the way I like to. Okay, but let's try it, see how it feels. High tension, long stitch length. I almost never touch this. This is a computerized machine, so it's a button, whereas some machines will have a dial. And extra tension. Okay. If you say so, Mom. I don't think I was letting any thread through. Okay, maybe let's let some thread through. And then what if I don't? This first section I accidentally barely let any thread through, so I think it's as gathered as humanly possible. Somewhere in the middle here is me trying to hold it with a little bit of tension, and then this end here is me with no tension at all. I'm impressed. Vest in your wardrobe? Maybe with a bit more experience, this could become I have been changed for good. I asked the people at Bernina to grant me a gathering foot just so I could show you guys. A gathering foot looks like this. It's got like a little slit in the bottom. It's gathered and it's secured to this little ribbon. Very cool. Now this year I finally have an overlocker in the sewing studio.
So I am nowhere near an overlocker expert,
Same.
but my one trick that I do love to do is instead of unthreading my machine when it comes to changing the threads, which let's be honest is arguably the worst bit, I just put my cone on, snip the thread off the last one and tie a knot.
Yeah. I learned this technique as well, although I learned a cleaner way to do it where the knot is like extremely small, which I think is part of the key. There's an overlocker. Spools. I had this loaded for 3-strand, so this guy here actually needs to be wound up fresh. Maybe we'll do that one last. I'm going to cut this here. New spool. In the video she does a double knot, which is nice that it's pretty secure, but the downside is that it can be a little bulky for passing through the serger. The method I learned, and I'll put a graphic right here, is you have 2 intersecting loops. Pretty secure, non-slip, but with a way smaller juncture. Boom! Old thread, new thread, holding hands, pull them through. Oh, okay. The only thing the white thread can't pass through is the eye of the needle, so unfortunately that part does need to be threaded manually. Now I'm just going to thread this one last guy. Ever since I learned this technique of using the old thread to pull the new thread through, I've been using it, so I've been changed for good. This is a good one. This last one, my assistant threw in here because I was literally complaining to her that I'm not good at this.
Have you tried pivoting instead of swerving when they're done serging? But
This
this
is me.
leaves you with an
I
odd
swerve
curve.
away.
Instead, you can pick up your presser foot, pivot the fabric, and finish your serge like this. Now it's a lot easier to tuck in your serger tails with the loop turner. Follow and save for more.
That looked so clean. Alright, my dears, it's the last hack of the day. If you guys have any sewing hacks you want to discuss in the comments, please drop those in there. I would love to read them. And this time we're going to pivot. We stop, he lifts the foot, we turn, drop the foot, exit. That's pretty clean. The first one where I swerve away, there's a little bit of this thread tag where there's kind of no nice way to deal with it, because if I cut it, it's just going to end up with a lot of loose ends. And here's the second one, a very, very sharp, clean ending. Wow. I'm gonna do the last thing that he's suggested too, which is to tuck the loose threads in using a tube turner. That is slick. Look at that. Thank you all for being on this sewing adventure with me. Agree, disagree on the rankings that I've made. Let's discuss, because I would love to learn more. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.